Good morning, India. This is Amritanshu Vajpayee. I welcome you all on behalf of the collaborating institutions on this platform of Sky Foundation to today's event of Astronomy Delights, episode 21, in which the guest of honor, the speaker for the day is Dr. Brijmohan Thakore. In fact, Professor Brijmohan Thakore to be more precise. मैं अमृतांशु वाजपेयी आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं, हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं हमारे आज के इस प्रोग्राम एस्ट्रोनॉमी डिलाइट्स के एपिसोड 21 का अपने सभी कोलैबोरेटिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस इग्नाइटेड माइंड्स विपनेट क्लब, विमेन लेड साइंस क्लब तथा स्काई एमेच्योर एस्ट्रोनॉमर्स क्लब, हमारे इंटेलेक्चुअल पैट्रन और पार्टनर्स रमन साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी फाउंडेशन गुजरात, डॉक्टर विक्रम साराभाई स्पेस साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी फाउंडेशन राजस्थान और डॉक्टर A.P.J अब्दुल कलाम नेशनल काउंसिल ऑफ यंग साइंटिस्ट, इन सभी की तरफ से मैं आपका हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हुए आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन और भी करता हूं हमारे इंटरनेशनल पार्टनर इनोवर्स इंटरनेशनल की तरफ से, जो कि सियाटल US से हमारे साथ ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं। और बिना समय गवाए, जैसे कि मैं अपने इस समय स्क्रीन पर देख सकता हूं कि हमारे पेट्रन डॉक्टर चंद्रमौली जोशी जी जो हैं इस समय हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं। तो जैसे मैं पहले भी कह चुका हूं कि हमारे प्रेरणा के एक स्रोत रहे हैं डॉक्टर चंद्रमौली जोशी जी। तो इससे पहले कि हम अपने प्रोग्राम की स्टार्टिंग करें, हमारे को होस्ट हमारे साथ ज्वाइन करें, मैं चाहूंगा कि डॉक्टर चंद्रमौली जोशी जी यदि आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके हम सभी को प्रोग्राम के प्रारंभ से पहले अपने आशीर्वचन प्रदान कर सकें तो हम आप सभी आपके आभारी रहेंगे। चंद्रमौली सर, काइंडली अपने आप को अनम्यूट करें और अपने आशीर्वचन प्रदान करके हम सभी लोगों को प्रोग्राम प्रारंभ करने का आदेश प्रदान करें। चंद्रमौली सर। मुझको लगता है कि कुछ नेटवर्क की कमी के चलते चंद्रमौली सर से हमारा संपर्क अभी अभी कट गया है। चंद्रमौली सर, आप कृपया अपने आप को अनम्यूट करें और अपने आशीर्वचन प्रदान करके हमारे प्रोग्राम को प्रारंभ करने का आदेश प्रदान करें। चंद्रमौली सर। सर आप म्यूटेड हैं। सर यू आर म्यूटेड। आप अपना लेफ्ट वाला बटन दबा करके अपने आप को अनम्यूट करें और प्रोग्राम का अपना ओपनिंग रिमार्क दें सर। शायद चंद्रमौली सर जो है नेटवर्क की समस्या के चलते हमारे साथ जुड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं, लेकिन द शो मस्ट गो ऑन। सो एज वी कैन से, व्हाट टाइम इज इट, व्हाट डे इज इट। अगर आप संसार में सबसे कॉमन पूछे जाने वाले दो सवालों की बात करें तो आदमी कहेगा कि इसमें क्या समय हो रहा है, आज तारीख क्या हो रही है। तो अप टिल नाउ वी हैव बीन डीलिंग विद ट्विंकल ट्विंकल लिटिल स्टार, हाउ आई वंडर व्हाट यू आर, अप अबव द वर्ल्ड सो हाई, लाइक ए डायमंड इन द स्काई, and when the burning sun is set and the grass with dew is wet, then you show your little light, twinkle twinkle all the night। तो इस पोएम को सार्थक करते हुए अभी तक हमने जो है अपने एस्ट्रोनॉमी डिलाइट्स के सभी सीरीज के प्रोग्राम्स को आगे बढ़ाया है। तो आज जो है हम अपने प्रोग्राम की श्रृंखला में एक कदम और आगे जाते हुए भारतीय पंचांग जो हमारे कैलेंडर हैं उनके विज्ञान की चर्चा करते हुए खगोल शास्त्र में उनका क्या महत्व रहा है तो उसकी हम लोग जो है डॉक्टर बृजमोहन ठाकुर जी के मार्फत चर्चा करेंगे। तो इस चर्चा को प्रारंभ करने के लिए सबसे पहले मैं इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा अपनी को होस्ट मिस श्वेता श्रीवास्तव का कि वो आए, हम सभी को ज्वाइन करें और ऑन दिस प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर्मली वेलकम डॉक्टर बृजमोहन ठाकुर। ओवर टू श्वेता।
थैंक यू मिस्टर वाजपेयी। Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I am your co-host Sweta Srivastava, President of Women-led Science Club. Mr. Vajpayee has already introduced you with the topic. Now, without further ado, let me introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Brijmohan Thakore, currently Professor of Department of Physics, Sardar Patel University, Vallabh, Vidyanagar, Gujarat. He served as the director of Khagol Mandal C.C. Patel Lok Vigyan Kendra, Sardar Patel University, Anand District, Gujarat from 2016 to 2019. He has attended 40 international and national conferences and symposiums. He has published 50 research papers in international as well as national journals. He is the lifetime member of Indian Physics Association, Indian Association of Physics Teachers, Materials Research Society of India, and Bird Convention Society of Gujarat. He is fond of reading, bird watching, and undoubtedly astronomy. His academic foreign visits include International Center for Theoretical Physics, Trieste, Italy. 13 students has been awarded MPhil and 5 students have been awarded PhD under his supervision. His area of specialization is condensed matter theory. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Thakur for the talk. We will turn the time over to you, sir.
And before Brijmohan sir begins to roll out his lecture, I would just give out a couple of instructions to the people who have joined. मेरा सभी से ये दो आपसे निवेदन है कि जब हमारे आज के अतिथि वक्ता डॉक्टर ब्रिजमोहन ठाकुर अपना गेस्ट लेक्चर प्रस्तुत कर रहे हो, उस समय कृपया अपने माइक को म्यूटेड रखें ताकि आप और हम सभी लोग मिलकर के इस लेक्चर को अप्रिशिएट कर सकें, अपने कल्चर को अप्रिशिएट कर सकें, एस्ट्रोनॉमी यानी खगोल शास्त्र को अप्रिशिएट कर सकें। और साथ ही साथ जिस दरमियान हमारे आज के अतिथि वक्ता डॉक्टर ब्रिजमोहन ठाकुर अपनी स्क्रीन को प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो, तो कृपया जो है अपना प्रेजेंटेशन को मैं जानता हूं कि कोई भी व्यक्ति जानबूझकर अपना प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं करेगा, लेकिन इस चीज को ध्यान रखें कि अपनी स्क्रीन आपकी प्रेजेंट ना होने पाए। और यदि गलती से भी किसी भी व्यक्ति की स्क्रीन प्रेजेंट हो गई है तो हमारे अन्य अतिथियों को परेशान होने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। आप मात्र और मात्र हमारे अतिथि वक्ता के प्रेजेंटेशन से आप अनपिन हो रहे हैं, तो आपको करना क्या है कि ऑडियंस में जाकर के उनके प्रेजेंटेशन स्क्रीन को खोजना है और दोबारा से उसको पिन कर लेना है। जब तक हमारे अतिथि वक्ता अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन को रोकते नहीं है, तब तक जो है आप उनके प्रेजेंटेशन को देख सकते हैं। इसलिए मैं ये उम्मीद रखता हूं कि आने वाले जो 1 घंटे का समय, सवा घंटे का समय आपके साथ हमारा बीतने वाला है, उसमें आप ज्ञान की नई सोपानों को चढ़ेंगे। और हमारे साथ हमारे संरक्षक डॉक्टर चंद्रमौली जोशी सर भी जुड़ गए हैं। तो डॉक्टर ठाकुर के अभिवादन के बाद हम सभी लोग जो है अंत में डॉक्टर जोशी को भी सुनेंगे। और साथ ही साथ इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं मंच पर इनवाइट करता हूं हमारे आज के अतिथि वक्ता डॉक्टर ब्रिजमोहन ठाकुर। ओवर टू यू सर। वेलकम सर।
Okay, friends, today I'm going to talk on the astronomy and in Indian calendar. On my screen itself, you must be seeing these 3 dates. This is in the Gregorian calendar, and here, as you can see, I have written the date according to 3 different variants which are used. The first one is Shravan Krishna 12th Tithi, 1942 in Sak Samvat. Second line I have written Shravan Vikram Samvat 2076. And the third line, instead of Shravan, I have written Bhadrapad, and the year is also different. So this is what we will all talk about today and try to understand what are these 2 variations. Now, if you historically see the need for the calendar, when our ancestors were hunter-gatherers and they used to collect food from forest and hunt animals for their food, there came a need in all civilizations. There came a need for them to understand the weather pattern, the migration of animals, and so on. And therefore, gradually, a few thousand years ago, our ancestors began to keep track of time somehow, and that eventually, over a few thousand years, have evolved into a calendar system. The religious needs and the festivals after man became civilized also initiated them to look into the way, look at the way in which they kept the record of time. And therefore, we ended up with a calendar, all different civilizations, because of our need for enjoying our festivals, growing crop, etc., etc. Now, I will not go into the detail of the other things, but if you look at the calendars in different civilizations, there are many more than this But today I will talk about basically about the Gregorian calendar. I will talk a little bit about the Gregorian calendar because this is what we normally use for our official work. And then when we go home and we have to observe our festivals, our religious things, then naturally our own Indian calendar comes into picture. Today I will not talk about the Hijri calendar, but if you look at this, the Hijri calendar is a Chandra Panchang, in the sense that sun has no role. Their month and year both depend on the moon. One complete repetition of the phases of the moon is a month, and 12 such lunations give them a year. So they don't give any importance to the seasonal repetitions, and therefore their festivals like Ramjan or any other festival slide through the seasons, and sometimes they are in the monsoon, and they will also come in the summer season and the winter and so on. The Roman or the Gregorian calendar, the calendar which we use, which has months January, February up to December, it does not give any importance to the phase of the moon except for a few festivals. And it is purely solar. That is, the repetition of seasons will give them a year, but the phases of moon are not given importance. So like the full moon can be on any date of a given calendar. It can be 1st or it can be 15th, 31st or whatever. This is the basic difference with the Indian calendar. In the Indian calendar, which is basically lunisolar calendar in Gujarat and North India, the festivals all depend on the phase of the moon. And our months also start from the full moon to full moon or new moon to new moon. Right? Okay. And in some places like Tamil regions and Bengal, Orissa, we have a pure solar calendar. But today I will basically focus on the Indian lunisolar calendar, which is observed in most parts in Gujarat and in North India. We all know that there are 12 months in a year, and that is written in our old historical texts also, that there are 30 days in a 30 tithis or days in a month, and there are 12 months in a year. In calendar, basically we are measuring the natural units of time. You know that measuring time intervals require regularly repeated phenomenon. And in we have mechanical pendulum clocks or electronic clocks, but when you are talking about the calendar, we need the natural units of time. Three basic natural units of time which are incorporated in our calendar to keep track of time depend on the rotation and revolution of Earth as well as the synodic period of Moon. कैलेंडर में पृथ्वी की कक्षा और अक्ष परिभ्रमण और चंद्र की कलाएं मिलकर हमें एक हिसाब किताब देती है टाइम कीपिंग का. As Amritanshu told me to keep it both English and Hindi, बीच बीच में मैं थोड़ा हिंदी बताते रहूँगा. Anyway, I have written a few slides in Hindi also, तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होनी चाहिए. Now, let us first look at the three basic units of time. Day is what a repetition of day and night is what we call as one day from sunrise to sunrise. We define it as a day. In some civilization or in some pattern like Gregorian calendar, we have the day defined from midnight to midnight. But even a small child will understand that the side of the earth which is facing the sun, there is daytime, and on the opposite side you have a night time. And because the earth rotates on its axis once in 24 hours, in a 24-hour time period, we have a one day and night. And this goes on repeating. So this rotation of the earth on its axis gives you the day, which is the smallest unit of time. There are many more, but as far as the timekeeping is concerned, from day to day in a year, day is the smallest unit. And when there is one complete revolution of the earth and it again comes back to the same part of the orbit, there is repetition of the season, and that is what we call a year. but there is a lot of difference between the smallest unit, that is 1 day, and the largest unit, that is 1 year, because one is 1 day and another is roughly 365 days. So there is a need for some intermediate unit also in between, which is larger than 1 and smaller than maybe 365. And there are so many natural patterns observed on Earth which have a cyclic period of somewhere around 30 days. And that small intermediate unit is provided by our moon. But before we go to the phases of the moon and defining what is a month, let me tell you a thing that generally we define the year as the time taken by the Earth to come back to the same part of the orbit. But that is a simple definition. There is one more thing which we must know, and that is from the Earth we see the sun moving around with respect to the stars. Actually, it's the Earth which is moving, but from Earth we can see the sun moving against the background of stars, and so there is nothing wrong in supposing that sun goes around us for the purpose of keeping track of time. Now this is, let me complete this ecliptic. This is this symbol gamma shows you the first point of Aries, because the stars around us we have divided into 12 constellations, and we need a origin, and that origin is the first point of Aries. So once, if you try to define the year, let us look at this figure. Suppose the sun is here at the first point of Aries, and behind the sun we also have a very far away star. Now the sun moves on this path as seen from the Earth along the ecliptic, and again it comes to the point gamma. So when you take the time period from gamma to gamma, that is sidereal year. Sidereal year means नक्षत्रिक वर्ष. सो एक स्टार से निकलते हुए सन जब फिर वही उस स्टार के पास आ जाता है, उसको हम नक्षत्र वर्ष कहते हैं, sidereal year. But what happens, this point gamma is not fixed in space, and it moves very slowly because of the precession of equinox, and it moves at the rate of 50 arc second in 1. Okay, so we were talking about the intermediate month. Now this is one complete rotation of the moon, that is with respect to the stars. But when that one circuit with respect to the stars is complete, it is still not full new moon. See, this is new moon position, right? Now when the moon completes one circuit of 360 degrees, it is again there with respect to the stars, but not with, now it is new moon. So it takes about 2.20 days more to come to the new moon position, and therefore there are two different kinds of month. One is revolution with respect to the stars, that is this 27.33 days. But new moon to new moon or full moon to full moon, it takes 2.20 days more than this, and that is 29.53 days, and that is taken up as the intermediate unit of time, which is based on the phases of the moon. चंद्र की कलाओं का पुनरावर्तन है, उस पे आधारित अपना महीना है. With respect to the star, 27.33 दिन में चंद्र एक चक्कर काट लेता है 360 डिग्री, बट न्यू मून के लिए से और 2 दिन से कुछ ज्यादा समय लगता है, and that is our month 29.53 days. So this animation will show you the relative position of the sun, earth and moon. If you see the whole solar system from above, how the phases repeat. Now the important number is this is our 1 month, 29.53 days. But when we are using a calendar, then whole numbers are desirable. Like year is fine, it is 365.2422 days, but the month is also a real number, 29.5306. So there is not a one is not an integer multiple of the other, and that is where the real thing about our calendar starts. So during 1 year, or during 1 month, if the month is taken as 29.53, then it becomes difficult for civilians to carry on their natural works. With the day starts at 6 a.m. in 1 month, and then it starts at 12 a.m. Next month. It becomes very, very difficult. So the month for civil purpose is taken as 30 days. Because then it is possible for everybody to carry on their work without worrying for that half day or quarter of a day. So these are our 3 basic units of time in a calendar. A year, that is 365.2422, the month, which is 30, right? And the day is 24. We don't worry about the day right now. Now, to appreciate our Indian calendar, let us look at the Gregorian calendar first, because this is what we use in our official work. We have wasted a lot of time in the connectivity, so I will go a little bit fast. The old scheme was 365.25 days in the times of Julius Caesar, and the actual seasonal repetition is 365.2422. But they took 365.25, that is 365 days in 6 hours. The error that there was 1 day in about 130 years, right? So they could not observe that error for a few generations. And the important thing is that 4 years of 365.25 are equal to 3 years of 365 days plus 1 year of 366, the leap year. So that is very useful because the year length is a integer then. Right, so for civil purposes this was used. Now the error was 1 day in about 130 years, and they could not notice it very quickly. But in about 1500 years, what happened? There some of their festivals lost their sync with the seasons. So Pope Gregory did a revision of the laws, and a new scheme was adopted where the century years like 1700, 1800, 1900 had to be divisible by 400 to be a leap year. So what happens? 1600 and 2000 year is leap because they are both divided by 4, can be divided by 4 as well as 400. But the year 1700, 1800 and 1900, they are divisible by 4 but not divisible by 400, and therefore will not be taken up as leap years. And therefore what happened in a span of 400 years from 1600 to 2000, 3 days which were leap years in the original old scheme were now not leap years, and therefore 3 days in a span of 400 years were reduced, and therefore the year became not 365.25 but 365.2425, and that is very near to 365.2422. So now the error is in the Gregorian calendar is very, very small, and for the next 2500 to 3000 years we will not require any modification. It seems quite simple, but what happens? Our festivals, the Indian festivals, we cannot use Gregorian calendar because the phase of the starting and end point of the month and the phase of the moon has no connection. Right, now let me go to the Indian Pancha. Now as we know, the year is solar, Rutu Varsha. So the year length is 365.2422. And the months are, there are 2 different variations. The month which are lunar, which depend on the phases of the moon. The month begin at from an end of new moon. So you can say that the month is from new moon to new moon. Ek Amavasya se dusri Amavasya. And that months are known as Amanth. And that scheme is followed in Gujarat. We have another variation which is followed in the whole of the North India, and that is Purnima, so that the months begin at the end of full moon. So full moon to full moon is a month in North India. So the difference is that in a Amanth scheme, the Shukla Paks comes first and then comes the Krishna Paks. But in the Purnima scheme, the full moon comes first, the Krishna Paks comes first and then comes the Shukla Paks. Right. So I will discuss what happens and what difference does it make to follow a different scheme. Our Indian calendar is known as a Panchan because there are 5 different ang, as it as you may call it, Tithi, Var, Nakshatra, Yog or Karan. Var does not depend on any astronomical configuration, in the sense that in Tithi means 12 degree separation between the sun and the moon, the elongation between the sun and the moon. So when you are talking about a Tithi, basically you are talking about the relative position of the sun and the moon in the sky. So that is what I mean by astronomical configuration. वार में ऐसा कोई एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कॉन्फ़िगरेशन नहीं है, जैसे कि आज अगर गुरुवार है तो स्काई देख के आप गुरुवार ऐसा नहीं बता सकते, लाइक okay, so that does not depend. So probably I will not discuss it today. If time permits, then it's fine. Yog also has astrological use, and so I will not discuss. I will talk about the Amanth and Purnima months, the relationship, what happens when you observe a festival here in Gujarat, in the Amanth system and in the Purnima system, what difference does it make? The nakshatra is purely astronomical. You can tell the nakshatra by seeing the position of moon in the sky and a little bit of current. And then time permitting, I will discuss some other things. There were different 26 different eras used at various points of time throughout the Indian history. And the most famous are, like Kali Yuga is everybody is famous with because it comes from the religious line. And then the two important are Sak Samvat and the Vikram Samvat. The relation I have given here, the current year 2020 AD corresponds to 1941-42 of the Sak Samvat and corresponds to 2076-77 of the Vikram Samvat. And the relation is very clear. The relation between AD and the Sak or Vikram is given by the relation. One is 78 years before the AD and another is 57 on the other side. Fine. Now, the year begins from Chaitra, and the government of India publishes what is known as the Bharatiya Rashtriya Panchang, the Indian National Calendar. The Calendar Reform Committee was set up under the chairmanship of Meghnad Saha in the 50s, and a scheme was taken up so that in the whole country, if there can be any unity into the type of calendar which is followed, but that does not happen. Our religious festivals and the customs of our ancestor does not allow us all to follow the Bharatiya Rashtriya Panchang. So in Gujarat, we have the Vikram Samvat starting from Kartik, that is the next day to Diwali. Diwali is the last day of a year, and next day to Diwali, a new year start with the Kartik month, and that comes in October, November. In the rest of the North India, you have the month, the year starting from March, April. The first month is Chaitra, right? And because in North India, the Purnima system is observed, the Falgun Purnima or the Holi is last day of the year, because the next day Chaitra will start. So just as in Gujarat, we have Diwali as the last day of the year, in North India, you have Holi as the last day, and then the next day Chaitra will start. This will tell you, show you very clearly the relationship between the 2 years. This line is January, and this is December. This is March. This is October, November. So 2020, somewhat up to this is 1941, and then up to next March it is 1942. Same way here, Vikram. So start from October, November, goes up to this. So 2020 is also related to this too. I will not go into other details because we are falling short of time. Now, this animation will show you the celestial sphere. I will come to how the months are named now. And if you stand in an open place the whole night, you will see the constellations rising in the east and setting in the west. Now there are all 88 constellations are spread out everywhere from north to south, east, west, everywhere. But the sun and the moon and the planets, if I suppose that this is north and this is south, They will rise in the east and then set in the west. Of course, due to Uttara and Dakshina and the positions change, but you have a whole belt along the ecliptic where you will find the sun, moon and planets moving and going from east to west. Now, let me tell you how the months are named. All of us know that there are 12 months. And if you start from Chaitra, Vaisakh, Jyeshtha, Ashad up to Falgun, these are the 12 months. And as this old text says, there are 12 months and 30 days. Fine. Now there are two different methods which are followed for naming the months. And the first of this method is the month which has its central full moon occurring at or near a nakshatra, say Chitra, is called Chaitra, and so on. Right? So 12 months are named depending on the position of the full moon along the background of stars, if you see in the night sky. Right? But we know that there are 27 nakshatra, but only 12 months are there. Right? So out of the 27 nakshatras, 12 nakshatras are for which we have named a month depending on the position of the full moon. And as this old text says, the Yug, Vars, Mas and all should start with Chaitra Shukla. And Shukla Paksha first comes in the Amanta system, and that is natural also. Purnimanta system is fine, but when you are counting an amount or a number, something, you always start from the minimum, go to maximum and come back. So a month is a natural system where the phase starts from 0, then goes to maximum 100% on the Purnima day, and then it comes back. Anyway, this is one of the methods, and the drawback of the method is that the position of the full moon will not be exact year to year. Say this is current 2020 I have taken, this is Arcturus, this is Swati Nakshatra, and this is Spaika, Chitra Nakshatra. On 8 April, the full moon was here near Chitra, and the name of the month is Chitra. Fine. What happens if we change the year, say 1 year before, 2019, see, the distance has changed. And what about, say, 2010, Chitra is below and moon is up. So there is quite a bit of variation in the position of the full moon. And for naming the full moon, it is fine. But when you are trying to find out the Adhik month and the calculation of the duration of the month, only the Amanta system is followed. So for naming the month, this system is fine, but otherwise Amanta system is followed for calculation purpose. So we come to another scheme, and that is which is followed in Gujarat, new moon to new moon. The month starts from new moon, Amavasya, and the month ends and the new month starts at the next new moon. If you can see here, you see this green circle represents the earth and this small gray spot represents the moon. This is the sun, and if you are standing on the earth, you see the sun against a background of stars which are Kark here. So this is Kark Rashi, right? This part is Kark, right? So new moon number 1, the sun is here in Kark. Next new moon, so means this duration is 1 month. Where is the sun? Sun is in Sinha Rashi, Leo. So during one new moon to another new moon, the time duration which we have defined as a month, sun changes a Rasi, right? So as seen from the earth, it goes from Cancer, Sekar to Leo. So this month will be named as Shravan. So depending on the transit of the sun into the Rasi, the naming convention is there. Okay. So if the sun is going into the Mesh Rasi, Mesh Sankranti is there, then the month name is Chaitra. If it goes in Vrushab during one new moon to another new moon, then its name is Vaishak, and so on. So we have 12 Rasis or zodiac constellations from Aries to Pisces, Mesh to Meen, and we have corresponding months, Chaitra, Vaisakh, Jyesth, and so on. Now, what difference does it make, the Amanth system and the Purnimanth system? The Purnimanth system I have put here on the top, and the Amanth system is here at the bottom. In the Purnimanth system, it starts from, the month starts and ends at full moon. So F represents the full moon here. And because in Amanth system, it's new moon to new moon, I've shown this. So see here, when in Amanth system, it is Magh, right? In the Purnimanth system, half the month is fine. Both places, months are same. But in the Vadpaksh, you can see that here it is Magh, in the Purnimanth system, it is Falgun. So in other words, you can say that in North Indian system, the Purnimanth system, the month starts 15 days before the Amanth system, right? But one thing is to be noticed, when it is the Shukla Paks, I have written Sud and Vad because in Gujarat we call it Shukla and Krishna Paks. Is also used the words, but Sud and Vad Paks words are used, right? So this part, if you see, is common. The months are same, but here the months are different. Here it is Falgun, here it is Magh, and the difference which can be seen in the festivals. Say for example, we take the festival of Mahashivratri. In North India, when you are observing the Mahashivratri fast, it is a Falgun month, right? But what about the Amanth system? Here in Gujarat, the month is Magh. So the festival is same, because the festivals, both the Mahashivratri or maybe Ram Navami I will talk about, all our festivals depend on the phases of the moon. So the phase Tithi is same, right? It is Krishna Paks, it is 13th Tithi, but the month there and here are different. So what one thing you must remember, agar festival Krishna Paks ka hai, then the months in other parts of India, North India, and that in the Amanth system followed in Gujarat, the months will be different. But what about this? See this part. Ram Navami comes in the Shukla Paks, and in Shukla Paks, the month in Purnimanth system and the month in the Amanth system both are same. So if it's a festival of Krishna Paks, the months are different. If the festival is of the Shukla Paks, both the months are same. This is one basic difference, right? Now, let us look at the concept of the intercalary month and the dilatory month, what we call the Adhik Mahina and Kshay Mahina or Mas, whatever word you are comfortable with. So we know that 1 year is 365.242. There is two words, the tropical year. In 12 months, I mean 1 year, we have 12 months. And each month comprises of phase-to-phase repetition. May it be full moon to full moon or new moon to new moon. The length of the month is 29.53 days. So if you take 12 months, you have 354.37 days. Forget about the decimals. So you have 365 days a year and 354 years for 12 lunation. So you can say that the solar year is 365 days and the lunar year is 354 days. So there is a difference of 11 days roughly between the solar year and the lunar year. Now, if you don't do anything about this, what happens? This is what happens in the Hijri calendar, as I said, because their calendar is purely lunar. So after that 12 months are completed, they are away from the seasons by 11 days. So when 3 years repeat, the total amounts to 33 days or almost a month. So in 3 years time, if you don't take care about this, your festivals will be out of sync with the tropical year, or to say the seasons, and then your festivals will fall in a different seasons. Well, nobody will like to light Holi in monsoon, right? Similarly, Diwali, you light crackers, right? But if it's a monsoon, it becomes very difficult. Nobody will like it. So our ancestors came up with a scheme of bringing our calendar back in sync with the seasons. So what do you do about this difference of 11 days? So we know that if the difference is 11 days, in 3 years time, the difference amounts to 33 days. So if we add a month of 30 days, then the difference with the seasons will also only be 3 days, and that it can be adjusted in the future. So there came the concept of intercalary month. So so approximately we can say that every 3 years we will need 1 month to bring our festivals back in sync with the seasons. But what is the exact thing? See, if we take a 19-year period, then in 19 year at the rate of this many days, the total days are this 6939.60. Fine. Okay. And in every year we have 12 months. So 19 into 12 will give us 228 months. Fine. And each month is, okay, again we know it is like this. So 228 into 29.53, if you do, you end up with this number. Now you can see this, there is a difference of around 200 days. This is 6939 and this is 6732. So if we add, say, do trial and error, try to add 1 month, 2 months and so on, then we find that if we add 7 months, that is this many days, then, okay, this number and this number are then same, see? So roughly we can say that every 3 years we need to add at least 1 month to be with the seasons, but the actual calculations will tell us that in a span of 19 years we need 7 extra months to be added. Then we are there, same. All the festivals where they are with the seasons, with the nature, right? So in the 19-year span we have 7 Adhik months. Now don't try to read this. Okay, I will explain with the help of a picture, because anyway I have written something which is in Gujarati and did not find time to do it in Hindi. Okay, so see, this is Earth, this is Moon, and this is our Sun. So let me start with here. Suppose this is first new moon. Where do you find the Sun? It is in Aries, right? This is Aries, and this is our Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and so on. 1 month means next new moon. At the next new moon, what happens? Where is the Sun? The Sun is in Taurus, right? So from one new moon to another new moon, this is our 1 month. During this month, the Sun changes the constellation and transits Sankranti into Taurus. Right? So when it goes to Taurus, the name is Vaishak. So this month is named as Vaishak. Okay, then after 1 month, what happens? See, now there is a problem. Okay, it has not changed the Rasi. It is still in Taurus. So what about this month now? Because we have made a rule that depending on the Rashi change, we will give the name to the month. Okay, what happens with the 4th? Here. Now instead, it is here in this Rashi, right? So there is a change of Rashi here and there is a change of Rashi here, not this, right? Here the change was in Vrishab, so it was named Vaishak. Here it went to the next Rasi, Mithun, Gemini, so it is named as Jyeshtha. So what in the month in between is a Adhik month, right? Now it is also known as Purushottam Mas, where religious festivals or other things are not done, right? And the later one, which comes according to the definition, is known as the Nij. Nij means original, which comes according to the laid down rules, right? So this is what happens. So in short, you must remember this, that if there is no transition into the next Rasi, I mean, if two consecutive new moons are in the same constellation, then that particular month is to be taken as a intercalary month or a Adhik month. Right, and this I have shown, just zoomed in a bit, and instead of simple number names, this is put in pictorial form so that it is clear to you. If the 2 new moons are in the same constellation, then that is a Adhik month, right? And here it is in Gemini, so it will be Jyeshtha. Here it goes to Vrishab, so this month will be Vaishak, right? Another important thing which you must keep in mind is the difference between Sayan and Nirayan. I am telling you this because most of the Panchangs which are published, most of them will contain a data which is known as the Nirayan. So if, according to the Nirayan positions, if you try to find out a planet maybe in the sky at the night time, you will find that it is not there because of the difference between Sayan and Nirayan. I showed you this particular figure and I told that the first point of Aries moves by about 50 arc seconds like this, and it goes, right? So at the rate of 50 arc second in about 72 years, the first point of Aries is our origin, like see in 285 AD, see in this remote past, this was the zero, the starting point of our zodiac constellation. The first sign was Aries, then Taurus, and Gemini, and so on, right? And this is the 12th. Right. Now, what has happened at the rate of 50 arc second in this many years? I said 50 arc second means in 72 years, it will change by position by 1 degree. So right now in this year, the announce is 24 roughly, right? So 24 into 72, if you do, then you will find that it is nearly 1800 years. So in 285 AD, this was our origin of the coordinate system from where we measured the Rashi, right? And this was zero. Instead of this zero, now our zero is here in 2020. And the difference here is 24, right? So according to the Nirayan, the Aries starts from 0 and ends at 30. Next 30 is Taurus and so on. But if you actually look at the sky and try to measure, I mean, you measure or you can use a software to do it, right? You will find that the Aries is from 24 to 54. Then from next 30, 54 to 84, it will be Taurus and so on. What happens then? See, because this has moved, this 270 will come here, this 270 comes here, right? And if the sun longitude becomes greater than 270, it is said to enter the Makar Rashi, Makar Sankranti, right? 2000 years back, on the Uttarayan day, 22 December, Makar Sankranti also took place. That is, Uttarayan started on one hand and the sun entered Makar or Capricorn on that day. But now what happens? Because this point has shifted by 24 degree and at roughly 1 degree per day, this will happen not on 22nd December, but December 22 plus 24 days if you do, then it will be January 14. So Makar Sankranti, for the sun to come here, it is not on 22 December, it comes on January 14. So because of the announce, because of the precision of the equinoxes, Makar Sankranti, which was originally taking place on Uttarayan day, 22 December, it has shifted. Fine. So the difference according to, the announce in 2020 is this. So instead of 0 to 30, it will be 20. Why I'm not telling you this? Because this year we have intercalary month. Adhik Mahina hai. Ashwin Mahina Adhik hai is bar. So I will explain how the month is Adhik. How do you actually find that which month will be Adhik? Just because Panchang mein diya isliye nahi, but you should know how the Adhik month comes and you should be able to calculate. It does not take much effort, right? So that is what I want to explain. Okay. So if the longitude not 0, but it becomes 24 and 8, then sun is entering Mesh Rasi or Aries. And so on, 30, I have not written these numbers, but it's 30-30 difference. Okay, let us now understand how Ashwin month will be Adhik. In 2 months' time, you will have a Adhik intercalary month, right? So these are the new moon dates for 2020. 20 January was the Amavasya. All these are Amavasya dates. Okay, so we have a month from 25 January to 23 February. Then 23 February to 24 March, another month, and so on, right? And I have told you the rule. Depending on the transit, the month names are given. From one new moon to another new moon, it is a month. अमावस्या से अमावस्या एक महीना है. उसमें अगर सन राशि चेंज करता है तो उस हिसाब से महीने का नाम है. अगर राशि चेंज नहीं है, then see what happens. Okay. So based on this, if you see this 20 July to 19 August. Today is 16 August, right? And on 16 August, the sun goes in Leo. So from 20 July to 19 August, what happens on 16th date? You can see here. It enters the Siddha Rasi, Nirayan longitude 120, Sign longitude 144. So from 20 July to 19 August, there is a Rasi transition. What Rasi transition? Sun goes in which Rasi? Leo. So I remember the table which I showed you, right? This was the table which I showed you. Right? Okay, so if it goes in Leo, the month is Shravan. Too far off. Okay. Then from 19 August to 17 September, we have another month, right? And the sun goes into Virgo, Kanya Rashi, right? Where on 16th September, right? So there is this Rasi transition, sun goes in Virgo. So the name of the month from 19 August to 17 September, it is Bhadrapad. Now, if you notice here, the sun changes Rasi very near to the new moon. It is very near to the new moon. And the effect is that what happens during this 17 September to 17 October, the new moon is 17 September, also new moon on 17 October. But see the time, early morning, 1 a.m. it is new moon. And when does the sun change Rasi? When does it become 204? It becomes 204 at morning, 7 a.m. But whatever few hours difference is there, it is a fact that during the month 17 September to 17 October, the sun does not change Rasi. It changes after the new moon, few hours after the new moon. But once a new moon is there, this is a new month. So during this month, the sun goes into Libra, and therefore that month will be known as Ashwin. So this is Bhadrapad, and here during 17 September to 17 October, the sun does not change its Rasi, and therefore it's a Adhik Ashwin. I've taken the example of this year only, 1 month after today. I mean, in 1 month's time, you will have a Adhik Ashwin, and then so this will be Purushottam Mas. And when the new month starts from 17 October onwards, that month will be the Nij. Nij means original. So this is how you can find out. You simply find out the new moon dates corresponding to a year. And then based on the sign longitude, find out when the sun will enter a particular Rasi and make a table just like this. And then compare. Then you will immediately find out if a month is intercalary, Adhik month hai to. So it is not difficult to find out which month will be Adhik. Okay, now what happens? This is reverse case. See, I talked about 2 new moons in the same Rashi. What happens? You have a Adhik month, right? What happens if from one new moon to another new moon, this is first new moon, see there are 2 Rasi transitions. So instead of a situation like this is a situation of Adhik, no Rasi transition. So you have a Adhik month. On the reverse, you have 2 Rasi transitions. Then what do? Naturally, you cannot give 2 names to a single month, right? And therefore, one has to be suppressed. So then you will have a Kshay month or a dilatory month. The dilatory months come rarely, right? And so we generally don't talk about it because every 3rd year we encounter a Adhik month, but suppressed month possibly most of you have not seen, right? So the Kshay month or the dilatory month generally recur after 1946, 65, 122 or 141 years. It can be a combination or it can be multiples of 19 plus 8 years, right? And according to the Surya Siddhant, the last dilatory month was Chaitra, 1886. And according to the table of Kshay months calculated by way back, Kero Lakshman Chhatre, according to the Surya Siddhant, it says that it should be somewhere around 2029. So let me leave this as an exercise to those who are interested. Very simple, as I told you. Calculate the new moon days and dates and time, and then find out in that particular year, based on ayanams, what will be the longitudes of the sun, so that it ingresses into the new Rashi. You will immediately find if there is no transit of the sun to a new Rashi, or if there are two transits, the sun transit two Rashis. That way you can verify if you have a Adhik month or a Kshay month. Now let us come to the concept, the most important concept of what is a Tithi and why we have a Kshay Tithi and Adhik Tithi. Just like the months, we have two Ekadashi, for example, back to back, and then sometimes we have maybe a fifth or a sixth Tithi, Pancham ya Chhat nahi hai, right? A Tithi is defined as the time taken for the angular distance between the sun and the moon to increase in steps of 12 degrees, starting from 0. Don't worry about the exact words, बस इतना याद रखिए, सूर्य और चंद्र अगर अर्थ से देखते हुए एक स्थान पे है, just together, then it is अमावस्या. अमावस्या, the word itself is a Sandhi word, and vas means to stay and means together. When sun and moon stay together as seen from the earth, it is Amavasya, fine. And when the difference, because the moon moves fast. Why the moon moves fast, we'll see. So if there is a 12 degree separation, it is one Tithi. From 12 to 24, it is another Tithi. 24 to 36, it is another Tithi, and so on. So why this 12 degrees is taken and not any other number? We are again seeing this figure. You know that in 365 days, Earth will again come back here. But this angle is what? One complete circuit around the sun means the Earth has traveled 360 degrees, right? So if 360 degrees and there are 365.24 days, then approximately the sun moves as seen from the Earth with respect to the stars 1 degree. So 1 degree per day the sun moves against the background of stars. And what about the moon? Moon completes one 360 degree circuit around the Earth in 27.33 days, right? So it moves approximately 13 degrees per day. So Tithi we are defining as the difference angular distance between the sun and the moon. One is moving by 1 degree, another is moving fast, moon 13 degrees. So moon moves fast, and what is the difference then between the two per day? Approximately 12 degrees difference will open up every day. 12, 24, not exact, but roughly in multiples of 12. And therefore 12 degrees separation is taken up as a Tithi. Suppose you are standing here in the open, right? This is your west direction and the sun is setting in the west, and the moon is here, right? And it is Amavasya day. Let us start our observation from Amavasya, right? So the sun and moon both are setting, the moon and sun setting at the same place. So it is Amavasya. Next day what happens? The Earth completes one rotation, and next sunset what happens? We always take the reference of the sun setting. So the change in position of the sun and moon both move east with respect to the stars. So this is 1 degree, fine. And the moon, it makes an angle of 13 degree now. Next one sunset to another sunset. So the difference is 13 minus 1, 12. So when the sun is setting, this is 12 degrees. This one is 12 degrees, right? That is Pratipada, the first Tithi. The month is divided into Shukla Paks and Krishna Paks. You have 15 Tithis for the Shukla Paks, 15 Tithi for the Krishna Paks. Okay, this is Shukla Paks as one, and probably you don't see the moon on Pratipada. What is the reason? Reason क्या है? क्योंकि sun अभी बहुत पास है ना? You know, twilight, and the small silver lining on the moon you will not probably see. Next day what happens? Another 12 degree difference comes, and you have Sud Bij or Shukla Paks Bij. Now the distance, the angular distance between the moon and the sun is enough for you to see. Even the phase also increases compared to Pratipada. So the first moon sighting in a month is here, Sud Bij, right? and that is the reason why it has attained a religious significance. Next day, what happens? Next sunset, 36 roughly, and the moon moves in the sky like this. And what happens on the 7th Tithi? 12 multiplied by 7, it is roughly 90 degree, 84. So it is roughly 90 degree. So when you are standing in the open, the sun is setting in the west, and you see half moon overhead, you know that it is the Shukla Paksha 7th Tithi. Again, it goes on like this, and we know that 15 multiplied by 12 is equals to 108. So in 15 days time, at 12 degrees per day, the Amavasya moon, which was here, now comes here. Okay, and it is a Purnima. So one thing is now clear from this figure. When the sun is setting and the moon is seen in the sky, you know it is Shukla Paksha, right? Next to Purnima, now it is 12 degrees more. So when the sun is setting, this moon is still below the horizon, and after about 1 hour, then it will come up after 1 hour here and rise. Okay, so when the sun is setting and moon is not in the sky, then it is Krishna Paksha. Okay, so this way, in 29 days, 29.53 days to be exact, the moon is again back here, right? And 1 month is complete. So this is about a Tithi, 12 degree separation, and fine. Let us now see what happens. How do you explain two Tithis back to back? I have defined this as a Tithi, but isko bhi Duj bolenge or isko bhi Duj, how does it happen? Why do we have two Tithis back to back? Okay. Now, in order to understand that, we must invoke Kepler's law. See, we are talking about a unit. इकाई की बात कर रहे हैं. Unit. 12 degree separation means one Tithi, and the 12 degree is not constant. From one day to another day, it is not constant, because both our celestial objects which decide the Tithi, both are moving in the sky. What happens? The Earth is moving around the sun, right, in an elliptical orbit. Fine. I hope you can see the animation. Now it is moving fast here, and as you can see, when it goes away from the sun, it slows down. So what happens? If the Earth is moving slowly, you can see the sun moving slowly against the background of stars, right? Same thing with the moon and Earth system. You suppose that this is, the moon moving around the Earth. Same thing happens. The moon also moves in elliptical orbit. So when it is near the Earth, in its orbit, it moves fast. See, you can see it picking up speed. So here you can see the sun moving fast, and when it is away, slow. Same thing happens with the moon also, right? So 12 degree separation is one Tithi, but the 12 degree does not always take the same amount of time, because the sun is also moving fast or slow, as seen from the Earth with respect to the stars. Same way, you can see the moon also moving. You don't feel it when you are observing, right? But if you see the position of the moon, say daily, moving from one star towards another star, then you do regular observation, then you will feel like, okay, compared to last time, now it is probably this time it has moved fast or whatever, right? So this 12 degree separation does not take the same amount of time. We have defined Tithi as 12 degree separation, and the 12 degree separation for minimum, the minimum time period is 21 hours, means 21.5 hours, right? For 12 degree separation. When the moon is moving fast, it covers the 12 degree fast. When it is moving slow, it may take 26 hours for 12 degree separation between the sun and the moon. And on an average, it is 23 hours. So what happens? 12 degree separation is our unit, but that unit takes 21.5 to 26 hours, right? And what implication does it has? Okay. Sorry about this Gujarati font for persons who are not familiar, but I think many characters of the Gujarati and Hindi font are same. So probably you will know what I'm talking about. I did not find time to convert it into Hindi. Okay, so this is Somvar, Monday, this is Monday, this is Tuesday, and here I've written Wednesday. Fine. Okay, this is 5th Tithi, Pancham, this is 6th Tithi, and this is 7th Tithi. And this is my timeline. Today's sunrise, 6 a.m. Okay, and tomorrow's sunrise. Again, I put 6 a.m. Day to day, large difference does not crop up, a minute or two here and there. So just for explanation purpose, I have simply kept it 6 a.m. on both the days. It can be same time. Okay, fine. Now see what happens. Here Pancham is completed here in this position. And when I say Pancham is completed, our Tithi is defined in terms of angles, not time. Fine. So 5 into 12 is 60. Okay, so when the longitude, the difference becomes 60.1, your 6th Tithi starts. And it ends where? When it is 72. 72.1 means 6th Tithi is complete. And the angle increases, the Tithi is 7th then. Fine. Okay, so up to this, this is 60 and 60.1. So the 6th Tithi starts. Look, this is the sunrise time. Okay, the 6th Tithi has already started and then the sun rises. And what the religious rule, what our old books like Nirnaya Sindhu, Dharma Sindhu, what does it say? That the Tithi which is running at the time of the sunrise is to be taken up as the Tithi for the day. So today is 6th Tithi, fine, okay. And the Tithi runs for 26 hours, as I told you, from 21.5 to 26. So if you count, say this is from here, if you count 26 hours, then naturally it will end here, right? So from today, suppose that this is 5 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock, then from morning 5, 26 hours you take, then this is 7 o'clock on the 3rd day, right? So when the sun rises on the 2nd day, 6th Tithi is still there, right? So today also it will be 6th Tithi, tomorrow also it will be 6th Tithi. This way you have back-to-back, say Ekadashi or any other Tithi. If the Tithi is larger than 24 hours, then it will percolate into the 2nd day. And so for 2 consecutive sunrises, the same Tithi will be there. Of course, here Tithi will be for only 2 hours or whatever, and then the next Tithi will start. But it will be that Tithi for that particular day. Same way now, similar picture. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is sunrise today. This is sunrise tomorrow. This is 5th Tithi, and see what happens. The 5th Tithi ends here at say 7 o'clock, right? But when the sun rose at 6 o'clock, Pancham was the running Tithi, and therefore 5th Tithi is the Tithi for the day. This duration is, let us say, 22 hours. So if you count from morning 7, 22 hours, then it will end morning 5 o'clock here the next day. But the sun is still not up. The sun will rise here after 1 hour, 6 o'clock. So what do you have? Today's sunrise, it is 5th Tithi. Okay, so what is the reverse case? If the Tithi is say 20 is lasting for only, means 12 degree separation is taking place in 22 hours, then what happens? Today's sunrise, it is 5th Tithi. So it will be 5th Tithi for today. Then after sunrise, maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, your Tithi starts, 6th Tithi, but does not matter. When sun rose today, it was 5th Tithi, so it will be 5th Tithi for today. And it ends up here because it lasts only 22 hours, right? So next day, when the sun rises, already the 7th Tithi had started before sunrise. So when the sun rises tomorrow, it will be 7th Tithi. So this is how you lose that one Tithi. It does not mean gayab ho jaye, yes or no, it is there. But the rule says that when the sun rises, whatever Tithi is running will be the Tithi for the day. So if today it is 5th and the 6th Tithi is only for 22 hours, you can lose it like this. And the next day when the sun rises, it will be 7th Tithi. So this is how you read in the calendar that आज पांचम है और कल सातम हो जाएगी, बीच में 6th तिथि का क्षय है. So क्षय का does not mean it's not there. वो angle direct jump nahi karega sun moon, but because of the rule which we have, it will be like this. Amritanshu, I think it is 12:30. कब तक हमको करना है? We need to have some interaction also.
Sir, there will be an interaction, but I would just request you to kindly complete your presentation also.
नहीं complete की तो 3 घंटे चलेगा भाई.
It is because the presentation is so engrossing, so we will just request you to kindly cover a few more important points before we proceed on for the interactive session.
Fine. I will take 10 more minutes and try to quickly go through some other things which you may find in the calendar written probably. Okay, let me tell you, this is interesting. If there are some students and they want to have a kind of hand-on calculation or back of the envelope calculation, this is fine. Generally, when you talk, read about the calendar and all this, you think that it is very difficult. It is not very difficult to calculate all these things once you know this. Of course, to find the tithi and all these things, you need to calculate the longitude of sun, moon, and so on. So you may not be having access to that data probably, but I can tell you about a small calculation, back of the envelope kind of calculation, which you can do to find out the tithi for a particular date and from date to tithi. Okay, so here I've given you the month index. Month index will be same every year. Even after 10 years, these indexes will not change. And I've written it in a particular fashion so that it becomes easy for you to remember. From March to August, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. January is 2, February is, 0, February is 2, September, October is 8, 8, and November, December is 10, 10. This is what you have to remember. You can write it. It will be same for all years. And the year index I'm giving, this year index is 5. And because there is a difference of 11 days between 1 year to another year, this index for 21 is 16. Okay. Now let us do a small example. Right. Suppose today, August 16, you want to find out what will be the tithi. Now let me tell you beforehand, this method is based on the average or mean motions of the sun and moon, and therefore sometimes you may have a error of a day probably, but if you are in a position to count on your fingers what will be the tithi this Diwali, nothing like it. See, August today, year index I have given for the whole year to 2020 index will be 5, right? So this index is 5. Month is August, fine. So that you add month index and day number. Today is 16, so you put 16. Do some addition of these 3 numbers, you end up with 27. Now we know that a month is 30 tithis, the first 15 corresponding to Shukla Paks, another 15 to Krishna Paks. Right? So if the number is greater than 15, naturally you are into Krishna Paks. If the number is greater than 15, subtract 15. Okay. Here I am getting 27, right? And if it is greater than 15, I subtract 15. So what is left? 12. So today is 12th tithi of Krishna Paks. Yesterday was Ekadasi. So we are getting a perfect result, right? Another example, small example, so that, okay, again the index is 5, but I'm talking about not August, November, right? And November, December is 10. So I put 10 here, and the day number I have selected 15. I want it for 15th November. So if I put it 15, it is 30. And 30 means the 30th tithi of the month. You have to subtract 30. If it is greater than 30, sometimes suppose instead of 15 you put 25, your addition will be more than 30, right? So then you have to subtract 30. But here we are getting exact 30. And if I subtract 30 from 30, I get 0. And that is representing Amavasya. This is the date for Diwali this year, right? So this is how you can just very quickly do mental calculation or maybe on your fingertips and find out what will be the tithi. But sometime one day error will be there because I said it is based on mean motion, but it's very good thing. And what about the reverse? You can find the date also for a tithi. I love this kind of small calculations. I love them. See, today is 16th August. Okay, and I want to find, because I redo. I've already done one way, so I just want to recheck what happens here, right? So year index I have given here for 2020. For this, it is A is for April 22.33. It simply means that the first new moon of the year. Now, year is not January to December. It is not Chaitra to Chaitra like that. It is solar year. So when the sun enters the Aries, right? That is our year. That is what I want to tell you. Okay. Now, this is the first new moon is April 22.33. Right, and we already know that it is we start from Vaisakh. So every month has 30 tithi. So Vaisakh, Jet, Ashad, and it is Shravan 27, right? 27th tithi. This is 27th tithi is what we, right? So 27. The number is 117. Now, whatever addition, now if you have, suppose you try to find out for Diwali this year, there will be Ashwin, which will be Adhik. So you have to add that extra 30 here, right? Ashad, Shravan, Bhadrapad, and then Ashwin 2 times you have to add. Okay, fine. So you multiply this by 0.98435. Why this 0.98435? This number we get by dividing 360 by the year length, 365.2422. Right? So this is the average which the sun moves in one day. Fine. So whatever number you are getting, multiply by this and then add this 22.33. Remember it is April. That's okay. Okay, so this result will give you 119.13 and then start subtracting 30 days for April, 31 for May. तब तक सब्ट्रैक्ट करना है जब तक 30 के नीचे नहीं आ जाता, क्योंकि महीना तो 30 या 31 का ही है, तो जब तक ये नंबर 119 माइनस 34 में से पहले 30 माइनस करो, 31 करो, 30 जून के लिए, जुलाई के, when I subtract minus 31 for July, my number goes below 30, right? And what is that number? 15.49. So in round figures it is 16. So today is 16th of August. So these are 2 small techniques which I have shared for calculating tithi for a particular date and a date for a particular tithi. You can repeat this calculation. I have already shown you this one way, okay? You can calculate it in the reverse fashion and find out. Okay, Karan, I will not go into nakshatra. Quickly, I will go to nakshatra. Nakshatra is what? The position of moon in the sky gives you the nakshatra. As you know, moon completes 1 revolution around the earth with respect to the stars in this many days. So if you divide this 360 by 27.33, you have 13 degrees in 10 minutes. So you divide your ecliptic, your 360-degree ecliptic, in parts of 13 degrees 10 minutes each, 27 parts. And each of that angular part is known as a nakshatra, right? So if you want to find out the nakshatra, you simply divide the longitude of the moon by 13.33, is 10 minutes, right? Okay, so you will have a nakshatra. So if the moon is here, say Revati, Revati is the last of the 27 nakshatra. Suppose you go and observe the moon daily in the sky and you see moon to be near Revati. This is Pisces, this is 1 nakshatra, right? Next day it comes here, right? It's not exactly, this is Ashwini, but it comes here. So what I mean to say is this angular part, 13 degrees, is 1 nakshatra. It's angular separation, angular space in sky. Next day it comes here. So from here to here was 1 nakshatra, here is 2nd nakshatra, then Bharani, Krutika, like that. It will go like that, right? And you know that 1 Rashi is 30 degrees, but 1 nakshatra is 13.3. And so 1 Rashi will contain 2.25. The easiest way to understand the relation between Rashi and Nakshatra is to think about your scale. The small scale which you use in your compass box, or maybe a 12-inch scale. There are 2 types of marking, inch on one side, centimeter on the other side. 12 inches on one side, 30 centimeter on the other side. So the same length is divided into 2 different ways, 2 different units. The length is same, but on one side you have 12 parts and that is inch. On the other side you have 30 parts, that is the centimeter. Same way, the 360-degree ecliptic around us, we divide by in 12 parts, 30 degrees is, that is 1 Rashi or 1 constellation. And that is on the other side, if you divide the same with 27 parts, then it is 1 nakshatra. So if you want to find the nakshatra, you have to find the position of moon along the ecliptic, and the moon changes one nakshatra every day, and that is the reason why the another name for moon is Nakshatrapati. I think I should stop here because I have lots and lots of things, but this can go on and on, right? And it's already 12:37, and we need some interaction also, right? So I would stop here.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for gracing the occasion today. And it was really, really a wonderful talk. The basic introduction which we gave. People always talk about the science and the astronomy, that is the basics of the calendar. And today, what you took us to was the basics behind the basics. आप हमको बेसिक्स के पीछे की बेसिक्स के पीछे लेकर गए और जिनको हम लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से समझा और मैं उम्मीद रखता हूँ कि हमारे जो आज ऑडियंस थी और साथ ही साथ जिस डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट थे उन्होंने इस लेक्चर को एंजॉय किया होगा और मैं समय की बाध्यता को समझ सकता हूँ, लेकिन मैं अपनी ऑडियंस से ये प्रॉमिस करता हूँ कि जो आज हमारी टॉक का जो पावर हमारे ब्रिजमोहन सर के द्वारा प्रस्तुत किया गया है, क्योंकि ही इज नॉट ए पर्सन ऑफ ए सिंगल हैट, ही डोंट्स मेनी हैट्स, a hardcore theoretician as well as a practical astronomer also, according to my opinion from the personal experiences which I had shared with him. So I would just invite my co-host Miss Sweta Srivastava also onto the talk right now. And before we begin with the interactive session, I would just like to take the permission of the honorable speaker of the day. Sir, can we begin with interactive?
Yes, sure.
Sure, sir. So actually, I would just begin with a question from Dr. Y. Ravi Kiran, the director, Jawahar Planetarium, Prayagraj. Ravi Kiran sir, if you are here with us right now, I would just request you to kindly unmute yourself and you can directly point your question, put your question to the esteemed speaker of the day, because actually there are a couple of questions. So you are the best person to combine them and ask them to the Brijmohan sir. Ravi Kiran sir, kindly unmute yourself and okay, sir. So you are having a problem with your mic. So Brijmohan sir, what I will do is I will just put his question to you. That is, Ravi Kiran sir has said, sir, you are keeping 30 degrees for each constellation. As per International Astronomical Union, the boundaries, each constellation does not have 30 degrees. Also, Earth is moving in the elliptical orbit. So Sun's in the zodiac is also not exactly 30. So how does your Sun's position match in the sky? Over to you, sir.
I know International Astronomical Union has boundaries which are parallel arcs of RA and DEC. But this is not the case in the Indian astronomy. As our calendar developed, they have this 30-degree arcs assigned to each constellation. Now, if you look at the sky, there are certain constellations like say Aries. They don't span 30 degrees. Similarly, Taurus, so it spans a larger angle than Aries. But for calendric purposes, since old times, since Surya Siddhanta and before that also, 30 degree was taken as one zodiac sign, right? And therefore these calculations are done. Solar months are what? Solar month is defined as the time taken by the sun to complete a 30-degree arc along the ecliptic. So that is solar month, and you club it with the lunar month, where we have 29.53 days and taken up as 30 tithis. So boundaries of International Astronomical Union are different, and the calendric calculation of our Indian calendar are different based on 30-degree space for the constellations. Rashi is right. No, I should not use the word constellation, Rashi.
So thank you, sir. Thanks for answering the question. And hello, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
So actually now there are, you can say two or three different questions, and since the idea is more or less the same, so I will club both the questions together. So there is a question by Dr. Ravi Kiran sir again, and also Dr. Bharat Adur.
Yes.
So Ravi Kiran sir is asking, what are the flaws that you find in the lunisolar calendar? And also Bharat Adur sir is asking, what are your comments over the 30th zodiacal sign?
See, if you are talking about the flaws, the system is quite set up. Whatever changes are there because of the non-commensurability of these two. we always make up. We have a scheme which is quite well set up for taking intercalary month as well as dilatory month. So this will go on. Now, if you for the calculation purpose, if you find it maybe complicated, that is a different thing. But as far as the scheme goes, you will never find that the festivals will slide with the seasons. More or less, they will be in the same season. So other than the complications of actually calculating, there are no other flaws which are of practical use. There may be some technical issues, but initially in the Surya, before the Surya Siddhant period also, precision was not taken into account, right? And that is also now taken in well into account, right? And the science system is adopted. So as such, there is no problem as such. And what was the other question? Zodiac constellation. Okay.
The other question is, that is the comment Bharat sir solicited about regarding the 13th zodiac and its incorporation into this present calendrical form. Ophiuchus, I suppose he is referring to Ophiuchus.
Which zodiac?
Ophiuchus, that is the 13th one.
13th, okay. So, no, in the Indian system, the Ophiuchus, no. In the Indian system of calendric calculations, only 12 are taken of 30 degrees is right. So even if we divide it in a 13th part, then naturally everything, all type of calculations have to be changed, and they have to be adopted also by people all over India who are doing these calculations, are following the calculations, publishing them, and they have to be adopted by all, right? So as such, even if you don't divide it into the 13th part, this is working fine. Right, so I don't think a change is necessary right now at this point of time.
Sure, sir. So thanks a lot, sir. And Tusharji, we have noted out your question. And before I take it to Brijmohan, sir, I would just request my co-host Sweta Srivastava ji who is monitoring our Facebook live sessions, to kindly take up a few questions from the Facebook chat boxes also. Over to you, Sweta.
Okay. From Facebook, we got two questions. The first one is, why Islamic calendar rotates round the year?
Which calendar?
Islamic calendar.
Islamic calendar. I told you the reason in the very first place. The Islamic calendar is based on a year of 12 months, and all that months are depending on phases of the moon. So that's 29.53 days for a month, face to face, and 12 months. So seasons don't come into the position of the earth around the orbit, and the seasons don't come into picture. So what happens in a year of 365 days, their year completes in 354 days. So there is a 11-day difference with the season. Now, if they don't do anything about it, so what happens? At the rate of 11 days per year in 3 years, it amounts to more than 30 days. Right, and similarly, in 10 years, the entire season will change. So that is the basic difference between the Islamic calendar and the Indian lunisolar calendar. If you don't do anything about it, your festivals will slide with the seasons. But if you don't want your festivals to slide with the seasons and to want your festivals to come in a particular season, then whatever the difference of 11 days crops up, you have to take care of it. And that is why we have the concept of Adhik month. So in the Indian lunisolar calendar, the festival comes in the same seasons.
Okay. So another question is, kindly throw light on how practice.
Sir, Sweta probably is referring that is to kindly throw some light on the South Indian calendrical system.
South Indian calendrical system I did not take up today. Since the old times, in the Tamil and Travancore and Madras region, solar calendar is followed. Right now, I have not studied into detail those calendars, but in those calendars, the Arya Siddhant is followed. In South India, the tithis and the festivals like Ekadashi and Dwadashi fast, Mahadwadashi, are calculated using the Arya Siddhant. But Surya Siddhant is better technically compared to the Arya Siddhant, and so must have been incorporated by the people who are publishing Pancham in South India now. But their calendar is Tamil and those regions, the calendar is solar. Same way you have Bengal, Orissa and Assam, it is solar, it is not unisolar like that. So the months are solar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I would just now request, sir. Hello. Actually, I am getting a bit of an echo, sir. Brijmohan, sir, what I will request, yeah. Okay. So, Satish Kukre, sir, if you are here with me, sir, kindly unmute yourself and you can proceed out with the question that you have asked. Satish, sir. Satish Kukre, sir, are you still here with us? I suppose we have lost on to his communication. Now the thing is that is actually Satish sir was asking that is he had given his own experiences with the report of the calendar reform committee. He was referring that it is according to him it is an excellent account of the astronomical events that are responsible for the calendar, and they have come with the Bharatiya Saur Dinank. But now the comment plus question that he has posed is that he is still not able to convince himself with the need of another solar calendar when Gregorian calendar is already followed worldwide. Two separate solar calendars, they look to be serving no real purpose. So instead, why we not follow the Gregorian calendar in general and lunar calendar for the religious purposes? Over to you, sir.
But that's fine, that's solar calendar, and for the next 2500 years, you will not need any to do any change. But most of the festivals of the Romans or the community, Christian community overseas, which follow the Gregorian calendar, most of their festivals don't depend on the phases of the moon, right? So other than the Easter or a couple of other, they don't need to actually see what is the phase of the moon. Here, on the other hand, we have all the festivals depending on the phases of the moon. So we need to have a lunar calendar, and we cannot have the lunar month starting from the first of the month, right? Because that will not happen, right? So there, because the moon plays a very small role, they can do away. Their months always come regular, right? But here, most of the festivals are based on the lunar tithi, right, and the lunar month. So how would you club a lunar month which always starts with the first day? So that will not happen. As far as the Indian national calendar is concerned, it's a very good idea because it also has the, just like the Gregorian calendar, it has 30, 31, 30, 31 days, starts always on vernal equinox 2021 March. So the structure is kind of dependent, I mean, similar to the Gregorian calendar. But what you cannot incorporate is how do you club the phases of the moon? Because we have defined the months to be from new moon to new moon or full moon to full moon. So that is what we cannot club unless and until we do away with the concept of the current month concept.
Satish sir, I hope that your query is being satisfied. And sir, actually, there is one more question from Dr. Ravindra Sharma. Dr. Ravindra Sharma is asking, according to your explanation, we can adjust 30 days with the help of Adhik Maas. But how are we going to adjust the extra 3 days?
No, that extra 3 days is not neglected. Just as the 11 days go on adding up, and when it amounts to more than 30 days, you add 1 month. So your difference comes down to 3 days only, right? And that 3 days will be taken up with the another 11 days and so on. So every time you go on beyond 30 days, you add 30 days and keep the rest with you to be adjusted in future, right? So that 3 days are used. They are not just neglected.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Before we move to the final comments from you, we will just take a couple of questions. That is, one is by Prahlad Joshi, sir. Thanks, Prahlad, sir, for joining today. And Prahlad sir का सर सवाल ये है कि सप्ताह के दिनों के क्रम का विज्ञान भी यदि आप अपने हिसाब से प्रस्तुतिकरण कर दे तो जो है अच्छा होगा. Sir, he wants to know आप सप्ताह के जो दिनों हैं जैसे सोमवार, मंगलवार, बुधवार, 7 days of the week. He wants you to throw some light.
See, in the Surya Siddhant, see the concept of war is not original to the Indian idea. So, what was original is the Paksha system, Shukla Paks or Krishna Paks. We are talking about a Pakhwadiya, 15 days Shukla and 15 days. The concept of a week is foreign to us, and it came from some Babylon, probably some 1500, 1800 years before. And according to that, the concept is that in those days, 5 naked eye planets and the sun and moon were visible to the people, right? So they thought 7 celestial objects are there, and they assigned one day to each of that celestial object, and we have a Ravivar, Somvar, and so on. Now, how the things were adjusted is that anybody who sees the moon regularly knows that the moon moves equal to its diameter in 1 hour, moves very fast with respect to the stars, right? So our ancestors everywhere in all civilizations were keen observers, and they tabulated the things, I mean the celestial objects, depending on how fast they move. In Surya Siddhant also the revolutions and the days are specified, and based on that they set up a table where they adjusted these 7 celestial objects based on the fastest moving to the slowest moving. So moon was the fastest moving, then you have Mercury, Venus, Sun, and then you have Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Saturn the slowest. So if say today we assign today's day to the moon, that is moon day or Monday, then after tomorrow what will be there? The fourth one becomes the deity or the lord of the day, as it is written in the old text. So after moon you let go Mercury, Venus, Sun, 3 are gone, and the fourth one is Mars. So if today is Monday, tomorrow will be Tuesday, Mars day. Then Jupiter and Saturn are left off, and when you go in the cyclic order, and Moon and Mercury are left out, and then you have the day corresponding to that, and so on. So you put a sequence, and then every fourth day assigned to every fourth would be taken up. So that is how we have a sequence of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and not some random day coming, or say Friday coming after Monday. Yes, Amritanshu.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for giving such a explanation days of the week. And before we take a final parting comment, sir, actually there are a lot of comments regarding, especially from our South Indian audience, especially our Sugmar sir has also commented in his chat box. That is, how about explaining Tamil and other South Indian calendars, because there is a lot of difference. So perhaps someday you will share your important time with us again, giving us interaction regarding the South Indian calendars also. And then there are a few questions regarding the telescope making also, because perhaps they are referring to your Khagol Mandal days when you were quite active as a director regarding the practical astronomy also. So Tushar ji has asked, and then there is one more audience from our part who has asked, he is Mr. Odelu Kumar. He has asked, that is regarding tips regarding the preparation of the telescopes. Before we take parting comments from you.
Right. Okay. So those who are interested in making a telescope, there are various places from where you can get the blanks and make your own lenses. But means in 5 minutes I cannot answer your question like that. But yes, there are blanks, there are other things which are available in the market. But various institutions are also running workshops where you can go, like IUCA and other places maybe, where they teach how to make a telescope of your own. So you go there and make telescopes under the guidance of experienced person in those institutions, and you can make telescopes yourself, right? But means otherwise, giving tips in 2 minutes for telescope here is those who are interested can.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot for giving it. a brief insight into the basics. And what now I will request is that is all the members who are really interested in being a participant to the telescope making. There are other experts like Dr. Bharat Adul sir, also Dr. Y. Ravi Kiran, who is the director planetarium of Jawahar Planetarium, Allahabad, and all the other people who are really
here. You can write us to the Sky Foundation, and then we shall hello, and then we shall be in touch with regarding how to make the telescopes and how to convert your dream into a reality. And before we pass on the baton to my co-host Sweta Srivastava for giving a formal vote of thanks, I would just request Brijmohan sir to kindly give us a parting comment regarding the future of astronomy and what are the opportunities that are available in front of the amateur astronomers. Over to Brijmohan sir.
See, amateur astronomers, I am also an amateur astronomer. Otherwise, I am a condensed matter person, but I have been looking at the sky, doing a lot of astronomy since I was very small, studying in school. So, amateur astronomers can do a lot of things because they don't have any restriction. Whatever they find good, whatever they love, they can do. And because there is no restriction, they can learn a lot, right? They can do a lot of computations. They can learn the art of making telescopes. These days, lot many people are doing astrophotography simply using their mobile also. But I would, for persons who are in school, small children, I would simply say read and read a lot, right? Because reading will increase not only your knowledge, but it will tell you many different things, right? And then, of course, you can join workshops for construction of telescopes. You can do a lot of calculations. You can do many things. You can observe. You can make your own diary for small children. I'm telling you, you can make your own diary of whatever observations you do, whatever questions come to you. Note down your questions and get your answers from experienced person. So that will take you a long way. Okay, I will thank you all for listening to me.
Thanks a lot, Brijmohan sir. Thanks a lot, Brijmohan sir, for such a fantastic session. And thanks all the for asking such a beautiful bunch of questions, which we had a small discussion with Brijmohan sir. And due to the constraint of time, and because there is a small limitations of the technology also, so we are just about here to wind up the session of the day. And before I hand over the baton to Sweta Srivastava, my co-host, for a formal vote of thanks, I would just roll out a special word of thanks to a few of the esteemed dignitaries who have graced the talk for the day, especially Dr. Bharat Adul, the director, Akash Ganga Center for Astronomy, and the patron of this this Foundation top series of Astronomy Delights Series, which is going on right now. Also, Dr. Y. Ravi Kiran, the director, Jawahar Planetarium, Prayagraj, and not to forget the esteemed, gracious presence of Prahlad Joshi sir. We are really thankful to you for your presence today. And also Acharya Phul Shankar Sastri, who was there in the beginning with us. And we are really delighted that Acharya ji was here today. And also the convener of Mars India Asteroid Campaign, Mr. S.N. Sukumar, who has really joined us today and who is really conducting a new venture in the field of amateur astronomy. We are really thankful that today you are here with us. And so now over to Sweta for a formal vote of thanks.
Okay. I would like to invite Ms. Harshita Srivastava of Women Led Science Club for delivering a vote of thanks speech. Harshita, kindly unmute yourself and
Good afternoon, everybody. I, Harshita Srivastava, on behalf of WLS, the entire fraternity of WLS, and all the audience, first of all, extend my most sincere thanks to the speaker of the day, Dr. Brijmohan Thakore, sorry if it was pronounced wrong, who spared his time from his busiest schedule to grace today's event. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. I personally liked this session a lot because it was really easy to understand everything you conveyed. And I think being an Indian, it is quite an important topic to for all of us to understand. Now, my sincere gratitude goes to all the other staff and all the listeners because listening is one of the most difficult tasks. So, to all listeners for joining us and attending the event today, have a beautiful and shiny day ahead. Thank you.
And with these words, wishing all a happy Navroz on behalf of all the collaborating institutions and the technical partners of the day, the Bagalkot Astronomy Club, through the help of Mr. Vijay Kumar Kulkarni and Amok Deshpandeji, the live webcast was possible today. Thanks a lot for your gracious presence. And with these words, and special word of thanks to the speaker of the day, the guest of honor, Dr. Brijmohan Thakore, Professor Brijmohan Thakore, for gracing the dais on the Astronomy Delights episode 21. Amidst all the hardships faced with the network issues and a few technical glitches from the part of the organizers also, you remained with us. Thanks a lot for listening today, and we promise to the audience that all the questions that have been left in the chat box, they shall be taken up with the speaker of the day directly, and you shall receive your queries answered surely from the part of the Sky Foundation. With this sole parting message amidst the corona pandemic, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. I bid you farewell. Kindly stay tuned with the Sky Foundation. Fill up the feedback form to get the e-certificates of the event of the day. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned with us, and we shall be back the next week with some another dignitary in the field of astronomy in the Astronomy Delights Series episode 22 at the same time on the same platform. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.